right, you guys, today we're going to be talking about, is there a deadline for waiting for my divine masculine? So today's video is for my beautiful divine feminines on a twin flame journey, divine masculines as well. That's something that I'm being asked a lot. So I thought that we just make a video and address this topic fully, covering it from all angles. So is there a deadline? I'm going to give you everything, all that I know, including timelines and cycles, because there actually is a deadline. And we are sitting in a very intense period of time right now, timeline split moving into 2026. I've been talking about this a lot here on my channel. So let's cover this topic fully so you can assess where you are on your journey and you can act accordingly. But I want to start from addressing the first thing that I said, because this is usually how this question is being asked. How long will I have to wait? Is there a deadline that if the separation was X years long, I should move on with my life? I should lose hope, and I should just accept that this is not happening in this lifetime. So the first thing that I want to address before we talk about deadline cycles and timelines is that from the very beginning of this journey, from the moment we are activated and as divine feminines, we realize that we are on a journey, that we are in fact connected to our divine counterpart, our twin flame, the other half of our soul, one consciousness, two sovereign souls, and we've been activated to this journey. One of the key things that we must do is to actually let go and move on. The waiting is never part of the journey. We wait because of the shadows. We wait because of the wounds. We wait because of the longing. Now, there's a huge difference between trusting and having faith in who we are, in what is meant for us jointly with your counterpart as a mission on your highest, most aligned timeline. There's a difference between that and between waiting. Waiting will never get you into union. So I want to explain this further because, again, as we always say, these are just labels. So I'm sorry, to make sure that you fully understand that. Waiting means that you are withholding certain things, actions, opportunities in your life because of your twin. So waiting in separation means that, for example, you've received an opportunity for an amazing job or for a better life or whatever that is, but you have to move to another city or another country, and you're not taking that opportunity because you are afraid to move away from where your divine counterpart is. That's waiting. That's not choosing yourself. That is not taking certain decision and opportunity that you would normally take just because there's here your twin, this man that hasn't spoken to you in months or years, but yet you're withholding something in your life because he exists. That's waiting. That's not having hope. Another example is you are in separation. He hasn't spoken to you in, again, months on end, if not years. And there is this other man that is wanting to get to know you, to date you, and you feel some sort of a pull towards him. And you're saying no fearfully because there's this twin. And you guys know that the dating in separation, it's a whole different topic. I've done a whole episode about this. It's part of my masterclass on YouTube. You can go ahead and watch that. I've touched on this in yesterday's reading as well, because yesterday's reading was a Divine Collective. And we were talking about dating specifically. My universal truth is that true divine feminine, whether you are on a twin flame journey or not, whoever calls herself true divine feminine, a feminine that has found her way back to herself, felt into her feminine energy, truly connected to the oracle within, to what divine feminine is meant to be in this world, she lives in celibacy until the moment she actually is aligned with her counterpart in divine union, which can be higher soulmate or twin soul. But until you are in divine union with someone, we do not give away our bodies to anyone, right? So that's something that you must understand always when we talk about dating, because when I mean dating, I mean how dating actually should look like. And I've covered this in many videos. It's not intimacy immediately. It's not jumping from 0 to 100. It's just basically a long months of romantical friendship with a man that you are allowing to wine and dine you and get to know you and be around your energy to actually feel, do you have a connection? Or perhaps you have a soul contract that one of you has something to learn from that connection, but it's a whole different topic. And again, I don't want to go into this because dating and separation for feminine and for masculine, it's a completely different thing. Because we are awake and because we are aware, because we lead the way, for them it's a whole different story. But ultimately, both of us, in order to get into union, will have to reach a place and a moment that we respect ourselves in our vessel enough to understand that if it's not a divine counterpart in divine union, it's a no-no, it's celibacy, right? But side note, so waiting is when you are saying no to connections, opportunities, travel, moving around, getting better job, getting better life because of your twin. That's waiting. So that's something that we have to release, and we're working on releasing from the very beginning of this journey, because it will get you nowhere. So when you're asking me, when is it that I should move on with my life? Immediately, as soon as you can, as soon as you can. This man is the other half of your soul. Yes, you are one consciousness, one chakra system. You are meant to be together on your highest, most aligned timeline. But for as long as he is lost in his shadow, he's not reaching out to you, he's not putting you as his priority, he's not in contact with you, he is living his own life, and you should move on with yours. That is always the answer, right? So now, assuming that you have moved on with your life, right? Because again, moving on with your life is a whole different thing than waiting. We've addressed this. Waiting, I've explained to you what it means. When you moved on, but you have faith, you have trust, it means that I live my life. Whatever spirit tells me to do, wherever spirit tells me to go, whatever opportunity spirit tells me to take, I take it. I move around, I travel, I change jobs, I connect to other people, to other men as well, respecting my divinity and respecting my vessel. But in the back of my mind, my heart, my existence, I trust that my divine counterpart, my divine masculine, he is the part of my highest, most aligned timeline. I am on my way there, or I am already there. I trust he will follow, right? So let's assume that you are living your life that way, which means that you already are in your divinity or on your way towards your divinity. How long do we maintain this trust, living our life in the background, before we actually accept, okay, it may not happen in this lifetime? And before, again, I'll give you timelines and sort of a framework to work with, I want to address one more thing. And I've addressed this in my masterclass, but it's something very, very, very important to understand. We have separate bodies, right, with our counterpart, obviously, for most part. We are sovereign souls. We are individuals. We live this human earth adventure separately. However, we vibrate on the same frequency. Twin flames, this is the only phenomena, the only object in the universe that vibrates on the same frequency, because we're one consciousness, right? One chakra system. We're very deeply connected. So because of that, and I highlight this to you guys always, and I teach you this always, we are just the feminine and the masculine of a whole. which means logically, however you would want to think about this, that we cannot be so different in the sense of where we are on a journey. And I explain this to you guys all the time. I've covered this again in my masterclass. The feminine leads the way. We awaken first. We are the lighthouse. We are the creatrix. We operate on 4 and 5D. We're the bridge between realms. We are aware of what's going on, whereas the masculine works through this journey in the 3D, anchored in the 3D, through karma, through the veil, unknowingly, right? Until a certain point. But it is impossible, physically impossible, that you are divine, you are doing the work, you've conquered all the elements of the journey, and there he is completely lost. He is a little bit behind, usually around one cycle, which is 9 months, but it can be around 6 months to 12 months, right? Maximum 2 cycles, so 18 months behind you, right? Because he may still have some karmic contract to complete. We work through healing of the soul and conquering the 5D and the meaning of life. They working through karmic contracts and clearing karma. So he is a little bit behind, but it's literally impossible that he is lost in parties, in addictions, in avoidance, and here you are in your glory. It's impossible because we're so deeply connected that every single wound that we work through, every single shadow that we work through, it has its effect on our counterpart. So when he clears karma, you feel lighter. When you clear your shadows, he feels lighter as well. We are giving, obviously we all have our work to be done individually because we're sovereign souls, but we're so deeply connected that we transfer our energetic state, our inner state of being to another. So you have to understand that, right? The reason I say that is because in a moment I'm going to tell you that timeline when things are not happening, but you have to understand that it's not going to be his fault or world's fault. It's going to be your joint state of being. And I always say this, we lead the way. And I teach you, my beautiful feminines, that there are 3 things that we need to conquer on this journey as feminine. Your own healing, your own shadows, your own wounds, your own past, right? Your own path, which is your authenticity, your truth. That's the second thing that you need to find out and discover who I really am. What is my soul? What did I come here to do? My lone wolf, my sovereignty, my mission, my path, my purpose. And the third thing is the connection. I actually have to understand that whether we are or we aren't together in the physical world, he's the other part of me. And we always work together. We always walk together. We are always connected. There are many feminines, because of the pain and because of this journey is hard, they heal themselves, they walk the path, but they completely disconnect from the masculine because it's too hard to handle. It's too hard to deal with. That I am here and we're together, but he's not choosing me. So they disconnect from the pain, but we cannot do this. We have to heal the connection as well. It's that third puzzle piece that is very important and many feminines miss. You have to heal to the point that no matter where he is, no matter what he's doing, even if he's married, with kids, with another woman, you love him. Even if you accept that it's not going to happen in this lifetime, I will always pray for both of us. I will always work for both of us. My lighthouse is on for both of us because I'm the feminine and we're one. This physical life and how we choose to do things in this physical life, it's just a temporary illusion. Back there in spirit realm, we're one consciousness, right? We're a team. We're a team. We're a team. Sometimes there are going to be moments where we're not going to be able to be in the same place and moment in the physical, but we're a team. Until you understand that, you're going to get nowhere, right? So now that we covered those 2 things, background, very important thing to understand, let's get to the good part. So how long? When we talk about separation, it's a very individual journey. It's a very individual thing. I highlight this to you guys all the time. This is why I always recommend to connecting to a healer that is meant to work with twins, whether you choose to do this on a regular basis or every now and then, to understand your journey better, especially in the beginning, until you actually reach your wholeness, your divinity, when you become your own oracle. But you're not going to be able to do this if you haven't healed all the 3 elements, right? And many feminines forget about the 3rd one, so they become oracles and healers for others, but for themselves they struggle because they're not whole fully. If you haven't healed the connection, if you're not fully constantly connected to your masculine in a proper way, which means I am sovereign, you have to do your own work, but I'm always here for you and we're always a team, you're not going to be able to be your own oracle and the oracle for the both of you. So when it's important to understand that it's very unique and very individual. Every pairing is going to have their own challenges and their own story designed uniquely for their own shadows and for their own individual mission, what they need to learn and what they need to conquer in order to teach and to give to this world what they're meant to give to this world. So remember that there's always individuality, but when we talk about overall separation is going to last anywhere from minimum for some pairings 2+ years up to 8-9 years, right? On average, which means on average it's going to be 4 years, 3-4 years on average. Now, during that separation, how you interact with each other, what are your dynamics, that's also going to be very individual. Some feminines will hear from the masculine, let's say every 6 months, every year, he's going to reach out, right? Or he's always going to reach out around specific dates that perhaps are important for your connection. Sometimes the gaps between communication may be a little longer. From what I received in downloads and from my experience working as I work with twin flames, it's very rare not to hear from your masculine at least every 2 years. Every 2 years at least have that contact point, that attempt, because we're so deeply connected that having 2 years without seeing someone, hearing their voice, connecting to them in the physical, they are physical creatures. They operate in a 3D, right? So they're going to feel that pull. They're going to feel, oh my God, it's been so long. They're going to feel that pull. They're going to feel that push to reach out. Even if it's just, a message exchange, or it's just like one phone call, and then the shadows will kick back, the avoidance will kick back, and they will disappear. It's very rare that they wouldn't do that for much longer than those 2 years. But within that, it's also because it's a cycle. We work in 2 year cycle. I talk about this all the time. I've done many videos about this. Every person, not just twin flames. Us twins, we work in 9-month cycles, but 2 year cycles additionally, but 2 year cycles, every human being on this planet, we work in 2 year cycles. So let's say you are in this separation and he reaches out every 1.5 years or every year, right? And years go by. You're healing, you're following your path, you're addressing your healing points, right? There is actually a bit of a deadline that if both of you do not manage to conquer this journey to a point to find your way back to each other, it probably won't happen in this lifetime. And I've done a video about this when I was talking about cycles recently, and about how in those 2 year cycles, our guides are always orchestrating things for us so that we get things right? So if you have to repeat a cycle, we have a specific things that we need to conquer every cycle, right? It's going to be a lot for us because we're on a very intense spiritual journey. So an average person, the 2 year cycle, they may have one shadow to conquer, one experience, one lesson to conquer. We're going to have like 50, right? Or more. So if you haven't conquered those specific things, you may have to repeat that cycle, right? And then if you're going to fail again, then they're going to crank that lessons up to make sure that you repeat that. But we have free will. Again, you can go ahead and watch that video. I'm going to find it here on my TikTok or in spirituality, healing and spirituality playlist as well. we have free will. So there's going to be a point when, you know, our guides are sending us lessons and opportunities for ascension, but we are failing to see, to recognize, to learn, to grow. They're going to be like, okay, if it's too hard, I'm not going to push you. 2 free cycles, I will push you. But if you're still saying no, if you're still refusing, right? And for many feminists, it's that third element. It's that healing the connection. Many times they refuse to do that. And I've mentioned this in that cycle video. The universe and our spirit guides are not here to get us, are not here to make it difficult. They are here to help us. So if they're seeing that second, third cycle, you are just not progressing on your journey. Perhaps something is a little bit too challenging for you in this lifetime. It's a little bit too difficult in this lifetime, right? So this is something that happens to all of us within those 2-year cycles. So us on this journey, obviously there are things that we need to conquer every 2-year cycle, and then every 9-month cycle, because we operate in a 9-month cycle. 9 is a very important number for twin flames. So are we meant to get into union in our highest, most abundant timeline? Yes. Is it given? No. Because it's a game. It's a sandbox game, right? That we're playing to expand, to learn, to grow, to conquer certain things. And we have free will within the framework of that game. Every day we get up and we make choices, right? How we want to live our life. Do we want to face things with courage, with love, with fierceness? Or are we still bound by shadows, by fear, by insecurities, by avoidance, by anxiety, right? So every day we take choices. And if this journey is a little bit too hard for you as an individual, and you find yourself in a moment that you have not managed to build your way back to union, to break no contact and maintain in connection to your divine counterpart, creating that divine union for more than 9 years, chances are it's not going to happen in this lifetime. Twin flames is not something that, you know, it's a very rare journey, deeply misunderstood. Most people, they think that they're talking about twin flames, they talk about karmic catalysts. In reality, I highlight this to you guys always, it's a fraction of % of human population living souls incarnating on human bodies that actually go through this journey. It's one of the journeys, not the only one, but one of the journeys that awaken you fully to the truth of life, right? It's a full Kundalini awakening, right? We become, especially feminines, we become psychics, seers, oracles, true divine feminines. Again, it's not the only journey that you can go through to become a divine feminine, but one of the journeys. There's very few of us to fully awaken and activated. Many people are awakening through the awakening of the mind, and then they're working through their energies, working with, you know, the truths of life. But the full-on awakening, when this is your path's mission, it happens, just falls at you. There's really, you become a true channel. There's very few of us, right? So there's a lot of misconception, especially about this journey. This journey is not about, you know, being separated all our lives. This is not this journey that we meet and then we're separated and we don't speak to each other for 20 or 30 years, and, you know, around the age of 70 we're reunited, or like 60. That's not it. We're activated to a journey of full-on awakening to find our way back home to self, to then be reunited and walk Christ consciousness, path of Christ consciousness together, right? To really find that wholeness, to really live in that idea of divine love. So prolonging that separation would serve no purpose, would serve absolutely no purpose. So some feminines, going back to what I've explained to you, they give up. They don't have the capacity to fully heal those 3 elements, including the connection. They shift the blame to the masculine. They separate themselves energetically from the masculine, which is part of self, right? So they live a good lives. They live, you know, aligned lives, just not the highest, most aligned timeline. So you can heal, you can grow, you can have your path and your passions. You can do a lot of good for this world. But if you find yourself in a place where you have been on this journey and you start from the moment you start your separation, it's been 8-9 years or longer, chances are that within that period of time, you've already repeated cycles a few times and you refuse to work on something that your guides were asking you to work on. And it may not happen because of the reason of how cycles work as well. Sooner or later, your guides will respect your decision. And many feminists may think that, no, but I'm doing everything that I can. If you're not reaching union back with your masculine, which is our natural state to be, when we both reach wholeness, right? So when you've done enough work to create space for your masculine, you've healed those 3 elements to create space for your masculine, he's going to start healing. He's going to reach his satori sooner, if he's doing the work. And if you're doing the work, he's doing the work. Remember what I said. So once you both reach wholeness, it's just going to be, you're just naturally going to fall back. He's going to activate his divine masculine. So the warrior, the conqueror, he's going to understand that you are the other half of him. He's going to come back to claim you, no matter where you are in this world, no matter what you do. If you're connecting to another man, if you're in another country, he's going to figure it out. He's going to find you, because that's what being a divine masculine actually means, right? So if he's connecting to a karmic, if he's not conquering certain things, certain shadows, it's because there's something within the wholeness of your journey that was too difficult for you to conquer. And I know it's difficult to hear, but we're teamwork. We're one consciousness. Remember, it's a collective thing for both of us. It's not the universe's fault. It's not his fault because he's not leaving his, his ex-partner, or he's not healing from his avoidance. We're one. We walk this path together. So as long as you are addressing those 3 things, healing those 3 things, connecting to your guides, surrendering to the divine in trust and in faith, following the guidance of God, doing what you are asked to do when it comes to opportunities, healing, challenges, right? You will get there. You will get there. And because 9 is such a magical number, because we work in 9-month cycles, for most part, more or less, that 9-year cycle is very important. We just finished a 9-year cycle, so that it's obviously it's not going to fall into collective 9-year cycle, but it's going to start from the moment you started your separation. Within that 9-year cycle, maximum, if you're doing the work, if you're conquering everything, you will find your way back to each other. But if you haven't managed to do that, so remember, if he has not reached out to you for more than 2 years in that separation, I would recommend reaching out to a healer, looking into your connection, making sure that you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, making sure that you are following the divine guidance, holding that torch for him as well, for his healing. But if you are having those points of contacts, continue to do the work, continue to heal, continue to let go, continue to detach, continue to follow your path, continue to live your life, hold the faith, hold the torch, hold the hope, connect to him, because he's the other part of you. Again, not giving him full access to your energy, because he has to do his own work. He has to take his own choices. He is sovereign, but holding that place of love, doing your work, being the leader, and you will get there. And if you have been on this journey in separation for more than 9 years, it's time. Again, I would recommend to look into that individually. But ultimately, my belief is that it's time to accept that maybe our souls believe that we would be able to conquer that. But perhaps it was a little bit too difficult. It's okay. It's okay. We have countless lifetimes to conquer whatever we want to conquer. in this human existence. And in the meantime, I will just accept things for what they are and focus fully my energy, continuing to connect to him always. Because even if those 9 years passed and if you're accepting that it's not going to happen in this lifetime, you're always going to be connected. You always in your heart, in your energetic fields, you're always going to be connected. All right, my loves. All right, I hope this was helpful. I hope I've given you all the information that you needed to understand this topic. It is an incredibly difficult journey. Life is difficult. It's not meant to be easy. We all have our own unique challenges, whether you are or aren't on this journey. Life is that beautiful. It exists for us to give us opportunities to grow, to conquer certain things, to conquer ourselves, to conquer human. So it's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be fair. It's not what life is about. It's about self-acceptance. It's about accountability. It's about not giving up. It's about taking the right choice, not the easy choice. I want you to remember what I always teach you. Twin flames are meant to come into union. On our true twin flames, on our highest, most abundant timeline, we're meant to be in union because we have a joint mission in this world. This is our natural state of being. When you strip the layers of your shadows, when you strip the layers of conditioning of the ego, when the soul holds the reins, when your authentic self comes forth, it is only natural to fall back into each other, to fall back into each other's arms. So keep the faith, in the same time detaching from it, because ultimately physical separation, it's just an illusion. We're always together. We're always connected. There's something else that I wanted to tell you, but I have forgotten. Well, because this is me. Will I remember? Will I remember? Spirit? Was it important? If I'm not remembering, it means it wasn't that important. I love you so incredibly much. God creates in pairs. We don't have things planted in our hearts to torture us, but to guide us. So if the desire exists within your soul to come into union to your divine counterpart, your divine feminine, your divine masculine, as long as you courageously do the work. It's very important. I think that's what I wanted to say for our masculines, because we lead the way. We constantly talk about the divine feminine because we lead the way and we're consciously on this journey. But the moment comes that the masculine realizes that we are his counterpart, that we are the other half of his soul. So if you're a masculine watching, if you are still lost, if you don't know how, if you don't feel yet the courage of the divine masculine within you to find your way back to your feminine, all you need to do is just pray to God, pray to your spirit team, your ancestors, souls of past loved ones, your spirit guide. I know that I am on this journey. I want to return to my feminine. Send me strength, send me lessons, send me tests, bring it on. I want to clear it all out. I want to rise into my divine masculine power to find my way back into my feminine. I am ready for my Satori. I am ready for my awakening. And they will show you the way back home.